This is Mel Hom, the instructor for Lern 53D, the CSET preparation. And you can call me Melvin, you can call me Mel, you can call me Mr. Hom, anything like that is fine. I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of what's involved in the course. If you saw my email, I pretty much gave you all the information you need on the email, but I'll just try to clear some things up. Okay, the first attachment was, if you were to print the whole thing out, it's 51 pages, double-sided, which is 102 pages. This was what I was originally going to give to you if we had met in person, but obviously that's not going to happen now. So all of that was in that one attachment. 51 times 2 is 102. Now, you're not required to read all 102 pages. There's some extra stuff that's there. In fact, some of these pages are single-sided and some are double-sided. To make it easier, when I scanned it in, I just did the whole thing double-sided. So that means some of the pages are blank, and I indicated that also on the page breakdown, which I'll talk about in just a moment. So this was a large PDF attachment that I gave to you. So if we had met in person for those 2 Saturdays, I would have given you as a handout everything, but it's all here now. So it starts off with the syllabus, everything about the syllabus, all the way through sample problems and so forth. So that's all of that is right here. You want to mention quickly, we're no longer going to follow the assigned dates, so those 2 Saturdays of April the 18th and April the 25th from 9:10 a.m. to 1:25 p.m., something like that, that's totally out the window. I'll try to make myself available by email during those times, but of course you can email me anytime that you wish about any issues concerning the CSET exam, especially the math portion. And so we're not going to hold to those dates at all. So here it is, 102 pages. You don't have to print it out. You could probably just scroll back and forth on that. Okay, a disadvantage is that the 102 pages are not numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on here. If you stop and think about it, if I were to give these out to you in person, that wasn't going to happen either. But in the sheet, the second attachment, it sort of goes over that. And by the way, if you were to scroll down, some of you, when you look at this on your computer, the computer might actually show you that this is page 1, page 2, and so on, all the way to page 102. Okay, but what's important, and I would highly advise you to print out the second attachment, which has the page breakdowns. Okay, something called the page breakdown, and it does literally go from page 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way down to the third page, which has page 102. All the way through it, and it tells you a little bit about what's on each page. So the first page says syllabus, the second page is blank, the third is structure of the CSET exam, and so on. Right now, there are 2 categories that are listed here. One says required reading. Okay, so if there's an X marked to it, and it might be kind of hard to see here, but if you have this in front of you, it's a lot easier to see what's going on. If it says required reading, that's what you're supposed to read. If there's no required reading, then you're not required to look at it. It's just some extra information about the CSET, or some information about the CSET with regard to science, or English, or history, or one of those other topics, which I'm not going to be covering. So I put that in there anyway, just for yourself. And then on the far right column, it says an X for written work. So if there's an X for written work, that's what you're supposed to turn in. And if you just want to know a summary of that, and for all 3 pages, same thing, on the far right column it might say written work. So that's what you're supposed to turn in to me, the written work. All of the written work are math problems. Again, our emphasis is math, no science, no English, no history, and so on. There may be other CSET courses for that, but I'm only doing the math. I'm a math teacher here at City College of San Francisco, so that's our emphasis for our class. So in any event, again, if it says written work, all the way on the right-hand column here, that's what you're supposed to turn in. They are all math problems except for 2 pages, page 23, which is a study plan, and page 25, which are student evaluations. Those are also to be turned in. In a nutshell, everything that's on the right-hand side where there's an X, only those pages you have to turn in something. If you turn it all in to my satisfaction, you will pass the class. And if you don't have that, then you won't pass the class. Okay, now, and I don't even grade, so to speak, your written work here. I just want to know that you try it. Now, what would have happened in class was I would give you some time to work on a problem. So I would say, okay, take 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour to work on these problems, then we'll stop, and then I'll have you work in groups, or we get together back and discuss them. Well, that's not going to happen anymore, so you will just work them out on your own. And of course, you don't have to do it on Saturday the 18th or the 25th. You can do it any day. You can do it today or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on, as long as it all gets done. Okay? So all you have to do in terms of our particular course is do all the written work, and don't just give me an answer. Now, a lot of the problems are multiple choice, A, B, C, D. I don't want to just see an answer. I want to see you show me some work and then give me an answer. Okay, I'm not going to grade you by correctness, so you can get half of it wrong, you can get just about all of it wrong, and you'll still pass the class. That's what would have happened in class anyway. If you had tried it, you might say to yourself, oh, I got all of this wrong. Well, then we'll learn from that, and then you can learn better so that you know how to study for the CSET exam itself. All right. Now, on the last attachment, which I said was optional, are my notes on all the problems that you're supposed to turn in. So if you want to look at it and see, oh yeah, that's how we do this problem, and that's how you do this particular kind of geometry problem or probability problem or algebra problem, then I've got that also in there if you want to look. I mean, if somebody really wanted to just to get 100% on what you have to turn in, I suppose you could just look off this and just copy down the answers that are here and mark it all off and get 100 on it, but that's not how I'm going to grade you anyway. That really wouldn't do you any good when it comes to the actual CSET. The whole idea is to try the problems on your own, and that's the reason why I'm not grading them. It's completely ungraded. You try it on your own. You can go ahead and look at the answers that they have here later. And by the way, from this 102-page thing, the answers are also here, but I give explanations, my explanations and what I would have for that. But you just basically look down these, and when you get them all, take pictures on your cell phone of all your work and just submit that to me, in addition to page 23 and 25 from the sheet, which are a study plan and student evaluation. If you get that all turned to me by 11:59 p.m. Saturday the 25th of Saturday of April, that would have been our closing date, then I'll have you pass the course. Now, you realize, and I realize, that maybe things are different because of this craziness of the coronavirus. Maybe your schedule is a little bit off and you find you can't quite finish by the 25th. That's okay. Send me an email, explain to me what your situation is, and I can arrange to have you have another few days or another week. Obviously, we have to finish everything by the end of the semester, but we might be able to negotiate possibility of your finishing after the 25th. But theoretically, I'm supposed to finish by the 25th because that was the scheduled ending date of our course, just being those 2 Saturdays. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention, and I think I alluded to this in an email, is it is possible to buy an entire book, a CSET Prep book. So I bought this one. This is a 2018-2019 version, but if you want a lot of good practice test questions for the CSET, here it is. So this will give you all the subtests and everything that you might want to need in it. So I'm going over the math, but not just math. So if you look over the table of contents, there's a reading, there's writing, there's history, ancient civilizations, and Civil War, industrial America, California history, and then of course science, so physical science, biological sciences, earth sciences, and then the math part also. So you can find this online, say Amazon. This is a 2018-2019 version, but you can just look up, or you can just do a search for CSET multiple subjects prep, and you can try to get one online if you want to study not just math, of course, but for the entire CSET exam that might be there. Okay, last thing I want to mention is that this is just the multiple subjects. Again, so our preparation is for multiple subjects. If you want to major in math, so let's say you want to teach at a middle school or high school level for math specifically, you have to take another exam, a much more difficult exam, of course, and that goes all the way up to calculus. But in the multiple subjects, we don't do calculus. We just do some very, very basic algebra, arithmetic sense, some geometry, probability, and some topics such as that. Right, so that's just a quick summary of what our CSET course is about. I've already emailed you everything, so go ahead and get started with all of that. And if you have questions about anything, feel free to email me about that. right? So we know things are tough now. Things are a little bit weird with the coronavirus situation, but hang in there. We have a different format. We won't be meeting again, so the original schedule of those 2 Saturdays, just forget about it completely, except that the second Saturday is when you're supposed to turn in all of your written work. So let's make it by 11:59 p.m. on Saturday the 25th. But if you think you need more time, just send me an email while you can't finish it, and we can arrange for you to have a little bit more time. Alright, so this is Mel Hom for the Learn 53D CSET math portion of our course, and feel free to send me an email about anything.